Hallo meine Damen und Herren, this is Herr Cox coming to you again for your lesson 3 for our distance learning. Today is Easter, so again, frohe Ostern. I hope everything is going well, and I hope that you are enjoying some time with your family. So this week, just to let you guys know, this week's lesson is going to be a little bit longer than the one from last week, of course, because we're going to be getting back into the swing of things. So, with that being said, I wanted to talk a little bit about grades and things like that. Some people might be asking about that. As far as grades go, I will have probably week 1 and week 2 posted tomorrow or Tuesday this coming week, so those are done. But in the meantime, remember, you guys can look on Moodle and see, as long as you're scoring that 70% or above on those quizzes and things, those of you that are in pre-AP, if you're getting at least 80 or above, you guys are doing just fine, and you will get a P or a pass for that lesson. We're just looking for mastery. We're just making sure that you guys are getting through some concepts and continuing your stuff. If your Moodle quiz includes some writing, it takes me a little while to get through those because I have quite a few of those to go through. With that being said, again, if you have any concerns or anything, please feel free to contact me through Moodle or through Remind or through your email or any type of way that you can get a hold of me. Again, I know that this is still kind of an interesting time and we're still learning some things, but we'll get through that. So let's talk a little bit about this week. So I'm going to shrink myself here just a moment. Okay, and I gotta move this because sometimes it doesn't want to work quite well for me. Anyway, so for this week, you have a couple of things that you're going to be doing. What I have tried this week for both on-level and pre-AP is I have included in the lesson plans, I've included the notes and things like that. So let me blow this up just a little bit so that we can see that. Okay, so again, there's all of your lessons. There, of course, are your notes. Here's the Quizlet if you want to print those out and have a paper version if you want to do that. Or, again, just do it online. Remember that the Quizlet is optional. I would prefer that you would take the Quizlet test and get at least a 70 or above, pre-AP 80 or above. But it is not necessarily part of your grade this week. Your grade is going to be coming from the quiz that I've put together on Moodle for you that you'll see there. There's kind of the printed version of that one. So anyway, so there is that for you for this one. So this week you guys are going to be working on, let me go back full screen here for just a moment. This week you guys are going to be working on Traumhaus. So you're going to be looking at vocabulary terms that have to deal with your home. As you can see, if you haven't noticed, in this third lesson here, my home is slightly different, and that's because Herr Cox is actually getting a new home. And so for the next couple of weeks, he's going to be in his travel trailer, is still doing lessons and things like that, but he doesn't necessarily have a big home. So the idea of Traumhaus is something that is kind of interesting at this time for me. So again, what you're going to be working on with the vocabulary for Traumhaus is think about what you would like your home to be like in the future. Think about what you have now and what you would like for things to be. So for instance, right now I have a very small home. Notice that I am describing my home, okay? I have a small home. In that English sentence, the word small is an adjective because it's the descriptor that is talking about the size of my home, okay? In a few weeks, though, I will have a bigger house, or in the future, I hope to have a larger house. Notice that in both of those sentences, big and large are the adjectives, but they had endings on them, okay? We learned a little bit about the comparative as far as like small, smaller, okay, or large, bigger, or larger, those types of things, okay? So what you guys are going to be working with this week, you guys have already done. Okay, sorry about that. I had to fix something with the video, but let's go back to what we were talking about. So again, you've already done some of this stuff before, but this week you're going to be working with these ein words. Okay, let me shrink myself down just a little bit so that you can see this. All right, so think about the sentence in English. I have a small home. In the future, I would like to have a larger home. Okay, so that's kind of what you're going to be doing this week. So going from a small home to a larger home. Okay, so in German, what we're going to use for a or an is we're going to use that ein. Now remember, sometimes with the nominative and accusative case, let's take a look. Notice that we're only talking about the nominative and accusative case when nouns are the subject, nominative, or when they're the direct object, the recipient of an action. Okay, that's when they're in the accusative case. All right, so notice here, das ist ein großer Garten. That's a big garden. Ich wünsche mir, I wish for, or I wish I had. Okay, ich wünsche mir, I wish for, einen großen Garten. Now, here's what you need to note. Okay, right here where you see ER, the reason there's an ER for masculine nouns is because notice that with ein, I can't tell if it's masculine or neuter, because both of those in the nominative case are ein. Therefore, I add an ER so the person that's listening to me knows that, oh, Garten is masculine. Okay? Notice here in the accusative, einen, okay, einen, there's an ending on the ein. Therefore, I'm just going to add kind of this, I'm going to add this adjective ending that's kind of used for almost everything, which is this en. Okay, now notice here, das ist eine nette Wohnung. Okay, this is a nice apartment. Notice this is for feminine nouns, so I'm just going to add an e. And notice, by the way, that it's the same in both the nominative and accusative. I'm just going to add an e. Okay, for the nominative and accusative for neuter nouns, those das, notice that both of them are s. Das ist ein schönes Zimmer. This is a beautiful room. Ich wünsche mir ein schönes Zimmer. I wish I had, or I'm wishing for myself, I wish for a beautiful room. Okay? And notice in the plural, Möbel, furniture, das sind keine modernen Möbel. That's not modern furniture. Okay, ich möchte keinen modernen Möbel. I don't want modern furniture. Now, notice here, remember in the plural, we cannot have a plural of ein. That's why we're using kein, which means no or not. Okay, but notice that it's en. So the big thing that you need to think about this week is in your work, if it is a masculine noun, is it functioning as the subject? Or is it functioning as the direct object? Okay, so what do I need to do to the adjective that's preceding that noun? Okay, if it's functioning as the subject, das ist ein großer Garten. Notice that we have the ER that's just like the der. Okay, and then notice in the accusative case, ich wünsche mir einen großen Garten. Notice you have the en. Also, you might want to notice here that just like with nominative case, der, die, das, die. Okay, accusative case, den, die, das, and die. Okay, it kind of works there, except for here in the plural. Notice that it's an en. Okay, so really these are the only endings you're going to be working with this week. ER, en, e, and es. Those are the only four that you're going to be working with. Okay, now, a couple other things we need to talk about. Since ein has no plural, and I've already talked about this, the plural adjective ending is e for both the nominative and accusative. Okay, so notice here, singular, toller, neue, but notice here, I've switched it to being plural. Okay, so das ist ein toller Garten, that's a great garden. Das sind tolle Gärten, those are great gardens. Okay, so even though this is the same, okay, and this is der Garten, notice that now your noun is plural. That's why it's an e. Okay, ich habe eine neue Lampe. I have a new lamp. Ich habe zwei neue Lampen. I have two new lamps. So still e in the plural. Okay, still e in the plural. All right, in the dative case, this is what you need to know. In the dative case, remember, this is when your nouns are functioning as the indirect object. To whom, for whom, to what, or for what an action is done. In the dative case, the adjective endings are en for all gender and for all plurals. Guys, this is super easy. Notice that it's just en. It's all en. It's all en. Okay? And the last thing that you need to know, when you have adjectives, okay, and especially when you have a string of adjectives, all of those adjectives are gonna get the same ending, okay? So for instance, das ist aber ein schönes, kleines Haus, nicht? That's really a beautiful, small house, isn't it? So notice, beautiful and small were both adjectives describing house, okay? And they both got the es ending because it's das Haus, okay? And it's functioning in the nominative case. And when it's in the nominative case, it just gets ein. So again, I don't know if it's masculine or neuter, so I have to rely on the adjective endings in order to figure that out. Das ist aber ein schönes, kleines Haus. So that's a reflection of your das. Okay, now let's go back big again. So this week, I want you guys to make sure that you're buckling down. If you have any questions, I haven't seen a whole bunch of you guys on my Zoom office hours. I am available every day, Monday through Thursday, from 10 to 12 and from 1 to 3. Guys, I have my speakers up. I've got my phone. I've got everything there. So if you email me or if you send me a remind message or something like that to let me know that you're there, or if you just show up, I have the speakers on so that I can hear what's going on in the room. So when you pop on, if you didn't let me know, just say, "Hey, Herr Cox, this is so-and-so," and let me know. I am here to help you, okay? So you guys have your assignments for this week. I hope everything goes well, and I will see you next week for Lesson 4. Tschüss!